In Earned in Blood, you're going to see D-Day, the entire D-Day operation, through the eyes now of Corporal Hartsock, who's later going to be promoted to sergeant.
It's a little bit different playing as him this time because you get a lot more of his internal thoughts in private conversations, much as you did Baker. We're doing the voiceover quite a bit differently this time, as it's an interview between SLA Marshall and Hartsock, but it's still a lot more of his personal thoughts.
Second took heavy losses in Carentan. I was with third at the time.
Under Sergeant Matthew Baker?
Sort of, yes, sir.
Sort of.
We were promoted less than 20 days apart. Carentan seemed so minor next to what happened in St. Savor.
Now, Corporal Hartsock, he has to take over a squad whose squad leader's been killed in combat. This is a tough challenge. I mean, that squad has looked to that squad leader for leadership. Now that guy's dead. Now Hartsock's got to take over and lead these guys. So we're trying to put all of that into the game. We want this game to be more of an experience, not just something you play. Well, in Earned in Blood, you're now going to learn all about Hartsock's new squad. And his squad of paratroopers have to be real people as well. So we studied the real history of squads. We read some of the stories from veterans. We've talked to the veterans. We've walked the battlefields with the veterans. We've tried to create a real group of human beings that act like riflemen, as paratroopers did in World War II. As a professional soldier myself, I know what it's like to be a soldier. So I'm able to blend some of the past and the research that we did with also the information of what it's like to be a real soldier to make this game the most authentic game ever.
So the dynamic dialogue, or battle dialogue as we call it, which is odd because it's not actually just in battle, but it's our dynamic dialogue system, actually grew since the first game. The first game actually was thousands of lines of dialogue. This one, I'd wager to say it's actually tens of thousands of lines of dialogue.
I could see plain as day it was Red from 3rd Squad.
I could have shot you.
Well, damn good thing you didn't, right? Shit, I'd have been mighty ticked off.
We should keep moving.
Well, I ain't yelling flash. So what are we doing, guys?
We had a good system where the players would shout to each other during battle and say things that were pertinent to the combat. So the first step was adding things, more things for the characters to say back to the player and to each other. So we did that. There's a couple more situations they can find themselves in. On top of that, there's a whole subsystem that determines the volume and intensity at which they say it. So now, when Hartsock gives an order to say, you sitting right there, and we're not in battle, I would be like, hey, you go over there. And he'll say it very calmly and very rationally. If we're under fire and we're a little bit farther apart, he's going to shout it. The same is true of the other character. He'll say it quietly and calmly if he's not in battle, or medium or loud depending on the situation. When we first sit down and create characters, they have very specific personality types and very specific fighting styles. I'm actually the one that divides them up into their fire teams and assault teams, so I do take their personalities and how I think they fight and move them around accordingly. For example, Paddock, he's the one with the M3 grease gun. He's very, very aggressive, which makes him a very good candidate for the assault team.